So I'm going to start things out a little bit differently this time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the challenge by kind of showing you guys what our goal is going to be. So with this little program, what it does to start is it asks us some questions, and the user or myself answer the questions, and then my program is going to do some stuff with the answers. So what's your name? My name's Ryan. Name of major city. Lima in Peru. Name of sport, we'll go with ultimate frisbee. And action word or a verb, I'll enter so it pumps out there once was a great athlete in Ryan. Ryan had to jump to Lima. There was an amazing sport called ultimate frisbee that Ryan really wanted to see. So to give you the idea of this story, I'm just going to redo it real quick so you can get the idea of what happened. So this time we'll enter in a different name. Lindsay, name of major city, we'll go with Yellowknife. Name of a sport, and just to make it clear, I'm clicking enter each time to enter my answers, or you can click the check mark to enter your answers. Name of a sport, we could go with curling. And an action verb, we'll go with there was a great athlete named Lindsay. Lindsay had a crawled in Yellowknife. There was an amazing sport called curling that Lindsay really wanted to see. So you get the idea of different parts that are being changed and what's staying the same. So to kind of give you an idea of how I'm doing this, let's get started. So just started a new program here in Scratch. And I'm going to start out by going to events and starting with a when flag clicked. For this activity, it's just a good place to start and good for the overall function of this for people or users. So I'm going to go into sensing, and I'm going to grab a sensing block, which is going to ask a question. It comes as a default of what's your name, and I think that's a good place to start. Like any program, it's a good idea to test as you go. So I've just dropped that block in, and now I'm going to test it. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the flag, and it's going to ask what's your name, and I'll answer my name is Ryan, and that's pretty much what happens. So nothing really happens there. It's asked a question and I've answered, and that's that. So one thing that happens is we can take that answer and we can store it in a place. And that place we can store is called a variable. And the variables can store lots of different things. They can store words or numbers or even images in some languages and programs. But for our uses, we're going to use them this time or in this challenge for words. So I'm going to make a new variable. It's important that you give a variable name that relates to what's going to be stored inside of it. So if it's asking what the name is of the person, I'm going to call this variable name. The name of the user is going to be stored here. So I'm going to make sure I click for all sprites and click OK. Once you've done that, some new things appear here, and all of a sudden the data script becomes a lot more fun. So I'm going to drag over set name to 0. And you know you've successfully created a variable. When over here on the side, you got this gray box with the orange background that tells you what's inside the variable. So right now, 0 is inside variable because, well, when we initially set the variable name, it's set to 0. And that's not very useful. Let's actually make it a little bit more useful. Let's set it to the answer of the question. So we ask a question, it's going to wait. And the computer will get an answer from the user, and that answer will now be stored. The name of the user will be stored in the variable called name. So as I said before, let's run our code to make sure that this works. What's your name? My name is still Ryan. And you see now it successfully worked because now the computer has stored my name up here in the variable called name. So that's a good place to start. And let's ask a couple more questions. Let's throw in ask, and this time we'll ask something else. We'll ask where are you born? Go. And like before, now we need to make another variable. So we'll make a variable and we'll call this birthplace. Oops, O-P-L-A-C-E, birthplace. And now you see a new little block right there of birthplaces we made. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set birthplace to not 0, but let's set it to the answer. And this answer block refers to the last question asked. So you could reuse this answer multiple times, but if you're asking lots of questions, it's a good idea to kind of do something with the answer pretty quickly after you ask it, so you don't kind of lose track. And I like setting it into a variable because now you have a place to kind of keep track of it. And let's throw in one more thing while we're at it. And let's throw in one more variable. So let's ask a question. This time we'll ask, what is your favorite color? There we go. So what is your favorite color? And then wait. And then let's just go ahead and make a variable. And we'll just go with, we'll call this color. There we go. Set color. Sensing, and we'll set the answer or the variable color to the answer. So we'll put the answer to the question in the variable. So let's just make sure to double check this, that it works. What's your name? Ryan. Where are you born? I was born in Ottawa. And what's my favorite color? My favorite color is red. So now I know my variables have worked. And sometimes in Scratch, people don't want the data or the variables to be shown. So one thing you can do is you can also turn off and hide the variables. So once you know that they're working and storing it, you can actually hide the variables away. Now, because you've unchecked them, it doesn't mean we've deleted them. It doesn't mean they're gone. It just means that they're not visible to the user. And like many things, sometimes you don't know what data is being stored about you. And so you can't see that what the program is actually storing. So it's still there, it's just not visible. It's still storing the information. So one thing we can do is let's do something with these variables. Now that you have them, it's a lot more fun to do something with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a look block, and I'm going to bring in a say hello for 2 seconds. Saying hello is really not that amazing, but what if we were to say the name of the user? So I go to data, I drag a name in, and instead of saying hello, I drag the variable name in. Now it's going to say the name for 2 seconds. So let's try that. My name's Ryan, born in Ottawa, and favorite color, let's say orange. Just pumps out the final answer of my name and showed it for 2 seconds. So that's not really that exciting. Sometimes it's a little bit more useful to kind of do something or make a sentence that makes sense. That's where if you go to the operators script and you pull out a join block of code, now you can do some pretty neat things. So if I want my sentence to look something like this, if I wanted my sentence to be there to say something like, hi there, Ryan, or to really say, hi there, name, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to make your join work like this. So I'm gonna start by saying, hi there, and then the next part will be username. So I'm gonna take this and drop it in. So now it's gonna say, hi there, and the name that's entered way up here. Let's test it out. What's your name? Where was I born? Ottawa. And favorite color, Y-E-L-L-O, yellow. Uh-oh, there's a mistake. So what commonly happens, and I'm going to set it to 10 seconds so we can I'll actually set it to 20 seconds so we get a good long look at this mistake, or this bug. Not really a mistake, more of a bug. What's your name? My name is Ryan. Where was I born? Ottawa. And what's my favorite color? We'll say green. You can see here I've said, hi, there, Ryan. So computers do exactly what you say. Computer's not supposed to, or doesn't know that there's supposed to be a space between there and Ryan. That's your job as the programmer or the coder. So you can see right there, there's my hi there. So after you finish the word there, you got to enter in a space. Let's test it now. What's your name? It's Ryan. And favorite color, we'll go with blue. And now, hi there, Ryan has a nice space in it. So don't forget your spaces. This is a very, very common mistake that I still make to this day when I'm coding. I sometimes forget my spaces between my strings and my variables. So, and this would be a string. Sorry, this text in here would be called a string, or a bunch of text. So don't forget those. So I'm going to go back down to maybe go into this for maybe 4 seconds, just so it's only there for a reasonable amount of time. Now I'm going to bring in another say. And so now I'm going to want it to say something like something about the color. So sometimes you might want to say, wow, I like the color, and that would be the color the user entered, 2. So now we're putting our variable in the middle of a sentence, or not at the end or at the start of the sentence. So you can see how the current layout, it's some typing, and the variable at the name at the end. So what I want to do now is I want to put in the middle. So to do this, again, I'm going to bring in the join. Start it out by saying, wow, I like, and I'm going to remember my space. After I write my space, what I'm going to do is, wow, I like, and this time I'm going to do a data color. So I'm going to drop my color in there. So now it's, wow, I like the color the user enters. Now I want to enter in the word 2. So operators, and I'm going to bring in another join. I'm going to, and just to remind you, so it was, wow, I like color 2. So now we got, wow, I like the variable color, and we want 2 at the end. So if we drop this in here with the double join, see how now it's, wow, I like color world, no, 2. So now we can take this join and drop it up here. Let's show it for 10 seconds when we run it. This looks good to me. I'm going to take a second stop and press play. What's your name? My name is Ryan. Where was I born? Ottawa. And what is my favorite color? We'll say purple. Hi there, Ryan. I forgot my space again, and this is again common. So wow, I like purple too. So I need a space here. So where did I forget my space? If you look right here, I need to insert a space right there at the start. Let's try again. What's your name? My name is Ryan. Where was I born? Ottawa. And finally, what is my favorite color? My favorite color is pink. I haven't said pink yet. Hi there, Ryan. Hi. Wow, I like pink too. My spaces are both nice on each side. And this is a way that you can make sentences with multiple variables in it. You can put the variable, in the middle of the sentence. You could kind of keep going if you wanted to. It is awesome. You could keep going, but this is all different ways that you can kind of use variables within some of your strings within a say. You can even use it in a think as well. So you could also drop that into a think, and the think would just look a little bit differently. That's mainly the difference between a say and a think. So on to your challenge. So when I was a kid, we used to go camping as a family, and we do something called Mad Libs. And Mad Libs are a really fun game. They're hilarious. So what you do is one person would ask the other person to write down an adjective. So they'd say, "What's an adjective?" And they'd write it down, and they'd say, different or funny or awesome would be all examples of adjectives. So there are many ways to choose a hat or a book or a dog or a car. And so you kind of think of nouns. And so you're asked to brainstorm different words that go into the story. The person who is writing them down knows the story and they get to see it. The other person doesn't know the story. And so you brainstorm all these words, and then the other person kind of writes them all in and reads it to you, and the results are usually fairly hilarious. So what I'd like you to do is I would like you to make a story using this idea and using variables, so you can ask some questions and then put the information from your questions together and make a story that's hilarious and funny, that kind of creates hilarious results that other people can enjoy. And that is challenge number 4, is to make a Mad Lib-like program where you're asking questions using the ask, setting variables, and then making say or think bubbles appear from Scratchy the Cat. And please make sure that once you're done to share your work using TLDSB code within Scratch, and get your teachers to brag about the awesome stuff you and your class are doing using Twitter with the TLDSB code hashtag, and on Google Plus as well, please. Good luck with your project, and I look forward to seeing your results.